Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode. I think this is going to be either 5 or 6 of Matchup Monday. Today, we're doing a little something different. As you know, the last 4 episodes we debated characters fighting. Today, we're going to be debating a movie fight. Today, we're going to be doing the short film face-off between Wolverine Brotherhood, Shocker the Big Score, and Quicksilver Time Crimes. Today, with me, I have
Wyatt Heffinger.
and two brand new guests to our Matchup Monday series. Wyatt, you will be representing what movie?
Wolverine Brotherhood.
Dalton.
Shocker at big school.
And I will be representing Quicksilver Time Crimes. We have a few things we're going to go over here and rank them based on. We have protagonist, antagonist, plot, score/soundtrack, cinematography/visuals, fight scenes, and side characters. We're going to be ranking all of them, picking one best one from each, and then at the very end, we're going to look at the scores and see who has the most points and declare what is the best film. So, everything figured out here. We're going to save the hardest ones for last. So I think what I'm going to do is go in order from what I believe to be the least impactful parts of the film. So like the least important elements. And then move my way up important elements. So I will probably be saving things like plot, hero, and villain for last. Because those three are going to be like the big selling points of the, You write down, my brother.
Side characters. I forgot to write them down.
Oh, yeah. All right, so pro and plot.
It's a good thing I can read my own handwriting because there's no way somebody else could read that.
And me too, buddy. My handwriting is not good. Cinematography, fight scenes. Just so we know, I'm counting fight scenes as not only combat, but that also counts as like verbal fights or like fights that aren't physical. Like things like, say, if we were doing Midnight Suns, I would count the poker scene as a fight scene because it kind of is in a way. I'm counting
Battle wits.
tense moments that are like almost the character is fighting against something. Like whether that's like another character's mind or like a physical boundary, like time, space, or just another character in general. So,
yeah.
All right. With that started, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna name the category. Wyatt's gonna debate his for. I'm gonna do 3 minutes per person, and then we'll do 5 minutes to debate all around.
Yeah.
So. Let me say your 3 minutes, and then I'm going to tell you what the first category is, and then you're going to give us your reasoning for why you think it is the best at this specific category. All right. I'm going to start with music. So, when you're ready, 3, 2, 1.
The music in Wolverine really captures the country aspect that it's going for. I mean, you got Chris Stapleton, you got Leonard Skinner, and you got Pantera, which isn't country, but it's like a redneck heavy metal band. And then the fight scene at the end, you got Red Dead Redemption. It really goes with the aspect of what you want, and but it's in a way it's. I mean, I don't really know what else to say, but it really does catch that feeling that you're watching a. I mean, it's not really cozy, but in a way, it's kind of like a cozy country film, and I mean, that's really.
What about like score songs, like songs that play in scenes that aren't like band music?
Oh yeah,
like. Like just like
the
harmonica
Mr.
stuff,
especially the Mr. X scenes. The Mr. X scenes. The music in that is like bone chilling, and it's just like it makes you think. It makes you know that Mr. X is just one bad motherfucker. I mean, it's not just. I mean, it's terrifying, and like it's like some kind of like some, well, not really analog, but like it's got some horror aspects to it. And yeah, that's Mr. X is a bad motherfucker. And
We'll get to him. Don't worry. That's what I'm interested for right there. The villains.
like the scenes I'm with Lucy, played by Shayla. I really like those little that one song "Creep" by Radiohead in there.
That scene has a really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, those are good. And the hotel and everything. I hate shooting in that hotel, but that scene was good.
30
Yeah.
seconds if you want to try to fill them up with anything else that you could think.
It's like when your English teacher says you need 1,000 words in your essay.
I mean, I just know that I could think of more for Wolverine because there's just so much.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, it's just really cozy. I mean, that's all I really got to say.
I'll give a few of my. If you want to talk about pros that you have for this movie as well, we can help the other people. I think when it comes to what I wrote, I think I really like. You probably didn't even remember this one that well. The Elvis song that played in Dick's Sporting Goods, but what didn't play in the Sporting Goods? It played in the scene with the Sporting Goods. It was an Elvis song. I kind of like it because it almost shows that like this is what Logan would hear because he's from like an older time. It's like
Yeah.
kind of the old stuff. I put the music never feels like it's out of place. Like you said, it's just it fits the vibe. The songs and the fight scenes and the dialogue scenes are well placed. It's never too loud. And the ending music, the song that plays at the very end when the last shot happens, is good.
Yeah.
I have to agree with Wyatt on the sort of Western aspect of it. It's reminiscent of shows like Yellowstone. It's a big one right now, Landman. They have that kind of music that kind of fits in with a scene, real country like
Bonanza.
And Bonanza didn't really have
Yeah, it's
music in the background, but it fit for what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I definitely think Brady did a good job with the music selection for Wolverine.
oh yeah, he did.
Because Wolverine's supposed to be like the lone cowboy, which from this you can definitely tell he is.
Yep.
All right, Dalton. Now you're going to talk about the music of Shocker, the big score. And 3, 2, 1, action.
Music wise, the only song I really knew was "No Rest for the Wicked," which is a peak song to open up with. By the way, Brady, that was a good choice for this kind of movie. But the rest of them, I didn't know the songs, but they really fit in very well with what the scene was trying to portray. I think I wrote down exactly. The music fits good with the scene's attitude and sort of what's taking place. And yeah, it all comes together really nice and fits in well. And having a good score and a good soundtrack can really make a movie because you can have really good plot, but if you don't have something in the background, sort of focusing your mind on that, then
What I put for that was the Ain't No Rest for the Wicked. I kind of like the symbolism of it because the part that you do hear in the movie during the whole beginning montage is talking about the robber and and the prostitute, which I think kind of goes to show that it symbolizes Herman because, as we know, Herman isn't an inherently bad guy.
right.
He just did what he did because he kind of had no choice.
Yeah.
And I think the song symbolizes that he literally had nothing. And we see that in some other scenes that he was, a high-ranking, electrician, engineer, and he lost his position, so he turned to crime because of that, because, he had nothing else. I also said that the other music was very reminiscent of other heist and crime films. Like, some of that actually was from Baby Driver, if you've ever seen that film.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that goes to show kind of the atmosphere of this movie. Because this was a new movie type of genre that we were tackling, was the heist movie. We'd never done a heist. And I think the music is a big part of it because it's very heist-like. You hear that in those kind of movies.
Yeah.
Why, you got anything to say
The
about Shocker's music?
soundtrack's always really good in heist movies.
Yeah,
The
100%.
Italian Job has Fast and Furious, of course.
I mean, yeah, Ain't No Rest for the Wicked. I mean, that was a really good song to open up with.
Oh, absolutely.
And the ending with it was a good day. That was
Yeah, Good Day by Ice
Yeah,
Cube.
that's a good
That was a good send off, and fucking, I mean, the music.
It just fit. It
Yep.
just fit really well.
I mean, like balls to walls, because it's kind of a adventurous kind of movie. Kind of reminds me of Dragon and Tiger 3, which that was also Brady's movie, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Two Brady's movies against mine. I'm cooked.
But Brady knows how to pick music. He definitely does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I would say. Both of those movies have great soundtracks that fit the atmosphere super well.
Helps being a musician.
Yeah.
It's like the movie I'm writing now. I'm kind of basing what I write off of what song I think would fit there.
Right.
So
that's kind of how I am with the Ghost Rider movie right now.
It helps the plot.
Yeah. But I definitely think that's actually one of the film's strongest parts is the music. Because like especially during I think it's Heist 2, the second one. The music during that is just amazing. Chase Me by Run the Jewels.
Yes.
During the whole thing, it matches with Electro fighting Spider-Man and the heist, and it's like high stakes. You're like wondering how's it gonna end. How's this gonna end?
I like how they were bouncing around with scenes, and then that song was just playing in the back. That was good. I like how. Yep, we'll get to that later.
All right. I guess we'll do me now. So, I really like the music that plays every time Jane does a killing in Quicksilver. It's creepy and menacing. Especially in the first one where he kills Henry Swiss. I think it's very menacing at the beginning because like you're like, who's this girl sitting in this house? Because obviously, from the dialogue and the tone, it conveys that this girl isn't supposed to be here.
Yeah.
And you're like, and you're creeped out by it. But then, as soon as we start to dig into Jane's emotional past with her parents' deaths, it switches completely from that dark and creepy tone to a very emotionally driven, atmospheric one. But then after she commits the killing, it goes back to it. Because, obviously, it's easy to argue this because it was my own intention. But when we're seeing it from Swiss's perspective, it's creepy. But once we start to dig into Jane's past, it gets sentimental. And then once it goes back to his death and his perspective of his final moments, it's creepy again.
Right.
Should have switched between them. One of the big things that I wanted to do was, if you noticed, every scene with Jane, the music in the background was kind of slow, pulsating. But any scenes with Pietro doing action stuff was fast-paced. Mm-hmm. It's to show the dichotomy that Pietro is always moving and Jane is always slow. She's stopped. The mystery music is reminiscent of popular mystery films, which falls in line with the whole idea of that this is a murder mystery. The music plays during the scene with Ides is very tense. The dun 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 dun. It kind of shows like they're creating a plan and that it's starting to build up that plan and you're wondering how the plan is going to go. Is Quicksilver going to be able to catch her before she kills him, or is he going to fail? It's very tense. It's one of the most tense scenes, probably the most tense scene in the whole movie, in my opinion.
You're really good with that dichotomy sort of thing.
Thank you. I got this from Tarantino. You want to try to represent a character with the music that plays when they're on screen.
Yeah.
Like with Django, the music that he fought people to, despite being a film set in the 1800s, was like Tupac. Yeah. Because he was summoning that kind of like gangsta warrior spirit coming out from, whatever. And then the assassin from Kill Bill was channeling, a very metal vibe because she was, killing all these people with ninja skills. So Jane, she's tragic, but she is also deluded by her past, and she, is a very childlike mind. So her stuff is kind of more what a kid would consider off-putting. Whereas Pietro, whose mind and body is always moving at such fast speeds, he's represented by songs like Danger Zone, fast-moving, rockin' songs because he's always moving fast.
That's a really cool thing to. Like you were talking about with the coming up and coming down with the music with scenes. You said you got it from Quentin Tarantino.
Mm-hmm.
Stuart Copeland, who was a drummer for the Police, he wrote the music for a video game called Spyro the Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And when they asked him to come do it, he said, "All right, I want you to give me the game." He went through, he played every single level, and after he played the level, he'd go and sit down, he'd write the music for it. And record it and everything.
Oh yeah.
He'd pick up on the atmosphere of the level before he wrote it. So, incredible thing to do, give that picture first, then see where you want to go with it with the music.
Heck yeah.
But that's it.
All right, now we'll do 5 minutes to debate all around what we think is the best out of us three. So now we can throw each other's ideas, question each other, all that. All right, 3, 2, and 1. Whoever would like to start.
I guess I'll start. I mean, Wolverine. As you know, I am kind of a country person myself, so I just love that cozy cabin feel, like I said, and and it doesn't really have a diverse soundtrack like Shocker and Quicksilver does, if you think about it, but which I really like that about Shocker and Quicksilver, but I like how Wolverine just sticks to one thing and
But it all fits in there so well.
yes,
That's-
yes,
I mean,
yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think all 3 soundtracks perfectly fit the films.
Yeah, they do. They definitely do.
Even the fight scene music in Wolverine, it's like a high paced, almost like a horse race.
Yeah.
And you got some classics on here. You got Tennessee Whiskey, Freebird. You got Creep. You got some classic
Cowboys from Hell.
Cowboys from Hell, yeah.
Some like slow movie songs. They can also pick up a little bit at some points.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's very reminiscent of things like Yellowstone or Landman. Taylor Sheridan and his editors or producers or whatever are really good at taking that music that's going to fit into what he wants to tell. And I think Brady captured that very well with Wolverine.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
I do agree.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm supposed to be, defending Shocker, but I mean, it's good music, good soundtrack, but
Also, I think,
That's a
I
hard
think
one
you
to
have a good
choose.
case because your music is very symbolic.
Dalton
Yeah.
Gold likes country music.
I do. I like country music.
See, I think
Which I do too.
I think the thing is, every movie he represents a different thing. His represents Logan.
Yep.
All the music is Wolverine. It's his internal monologue.
Yeah.
That music from Shocker represents what they are doing,
Yeah.
their goal.
Right.
Quicksilver's music represents the reality of the moment, what's happening. So
No, it's
all a completely different thing.
it's a tough choice no matter what.
It is. I mean, you're picking Western country,
Yeah.
heist music, or murder mystery music. You got something more cozy and relaxed, but something got to be more high paced and fun. But then you also have something that's adventurous and you're curious of how it's going to go. But it's high paced. Then you have something that can be anywhere from a high speed, high speed, almost car chase type vibe with super speed, or these slow and dramatic undertones.
And Quicksilver is more scores soundtrack.
Yes, yeah. Quicksilver only really has, I think, 2 songs,
Yeah, really
which is Danger Zone and Time by Pink Floyd. So if we're rating it based on like music, I'm not winning because I only got 2 songs.
Yeah.
But if we're including score, then it gets different because my score makes up for the lack of songs. But yours also have scores, especially yours. It's hard. I don't really know.
I don't know either.
I don't know what to pick the criteria based off of here. I think it just comes down to who has more of it and who uses it better.
Using it better. I mean, like you said, I think I have a case towards that, just because it's everything that plays fits in with that scene so well. Like Wise does too, but it's all kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
But mine, you have your highs, you have your lows. Your score does the same thing as that, but it's more. You don't notice it as much because it's, just a score.
Yeah.
So.
I think the thing is with yours and mine and his is like you're getting a feel for where you are. Like it's like almost the tale of the land, Mine is you're seeing a story.
Yeah.
The music is the story.
Right.
Yours is almost like the music is you bonding with the characters and getting into the characters. And I think for the sake of that, which is what you want to do in a movie, you want to be interested in the characters and in the plot.
Yeah.
Shocker probably has the best case for the music. Also, it has the most. It has the most songs out of all of them. I'm pretty sure. Ice Cube, Ain't No Rest for the Wicked, The one song that plays when Shocker throws the money in the water fountain, I can't remember the name of it for the life of me. Run the Jewels. That's four. That's four pretty good ones. It just becomes hard to pick. But I think if we're going with quantity, you got that, and quality, probably two. Because I'm going to say this, Shocker is such an underrated story. It doesn't have enough views. It doesn't have enough love.
You're right.
Truly, it is a great film. And I think the music is a big part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because one thing that I know with a lot of like, comic book movies is when you hear music playing during scenes, it's what people like to hear. Yours has that. It does. But the only song that I think really gives off like the huge you're in the moment vibe is Cowboys from Hell.
Mm-hmm.
Quicksilver doesn't really have that at all. It doesn't.
Well, you look at movies like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
One of the greatest soundtracks in a movie of all time.
That's what people are looking for.
Yeah.
Soundtrack. So I think in terms of soundtrack, I'm going to have to give Shocker the win in that one.
Do you agree with that?
Yep.
All right. So next round, we're going to do... Ooh, this will be fun. Side characters.
Uh,
I'll let you get your stuff together first. Like this one, you can talk about a little bit more because there are a lot of characters.
yeah.
Are you ready?
Yep.
And go.
Oh, my side characters, they're pretty underrated. I mean, you got Lucy, which Shayla did a great job with that one, and Blaine. Blaine was really good. Blaine was like very relatable.
Jason Oswald King.
Yeah, Jason Hasselblad.
Brady's father.
Yep. And then you had one of my Gambit was probably my favorite side character.
Yeah, Gambit was a good one.
Yeah, and Isaiah did so good with that. Isaiah's damn near. I mean, Isaiah's good at a lot of things, but freaking, I really liked how Gambit seemed to always like try to cheer Logan up, or you know what I mean. And Dennis Terrell was really good. Hayden Jones did a banger job with that one. I really like the accent he pulled off, and it was just hilarious. But also, he was good, he was really good, and I really liked. I hate to say that. Who did Owen play? I forget.
Tom.
Who?
No, not Tom. Joe.
Joe.
Brady's character was Tom Leeds.
Yeah.
There's a lot of characters. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Forgot about
Joe was pretty good. Joe was like, in my opinion, kind of awkward, but Joe was good. And then you had Tom. Tom was a pretty good like. Well, he wasn't really a side villain, but he was a side.
Tom was a good setup for the rest of the villains that were going to come down the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I like how Tom was like kind of just like a little
Shane,
sneaking little, you know what I mean?
the character Jonathan played, Shane.
Yeah.
rip that guy.
Yep.
What I have for yours, I actually included some of the like even more extra characters, like the bar goers from the very first scene.
Yeah.
It creates the idea that mutants are hated. Because, like, as far as we know, both in the comics and any X-Men related media, the mutants are hated by the general public. And the first scene goes to show that. Death of Lucy and Lucy's entire character goes to show, you know, the evil of the world that we're being set in. Because, like we've seen, most of these movies take place in New York, but obviously this one takes place in Houston, Texas. So it's a whole different place. We're in a small town rather than this big city filled with vampires and ninjas and supervillains.
Well, Houston is not a small town, but
It's different.
it's the fourth largest city in the United States. But okay,
Lucy's a great character.
Dalton would know.
I wouldn't know. I've driven through it.
So personally, I'd like to think that it isn't Houston itself, but like a small subsection of Houston. Gambit is great. Gambit, I like Gambit a lot because he brings out a little bit of Logan's past, because we don't really see a lot of Logan's past.
Yeah.
We just know what Logan is right now. And we know why he's here, but Gambit actually tries to kind of pull him back And we kind of get to see more about like the X-Men.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I also forgot to mention the rabbi. I really liked the rabbi. The rabbi, he seemed like very comforting and just like, like he was there for you, and he was just, like someone that you could really talk to. Probably even better than Gambit, you know what I mean?
That was the person Logan really needed right there.
Yeah.
It was just someone that didn't know him. Sorry about that. All right, back to the video. Where were we? You were talking about the rabbi.
The rabbi, yeah. But, like I said, the rabbi seemed like a person like one of those people you just like randomly meet in your life, and you just like you never see again, but like you just think about it like your entire life. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I see that. Good thing with Blaine and Gambit, because Brady wrote it in the way that you can kind of tell that Logan knows them. It's like it's believable that he's met them before, like that they know him. Because like Blaine's like, hey man, how the hell are you? Clearly, it's like it's been a while since you've seen him. And that's one thing you have to do with characters like that, is you have to make it seem like they have actually met. Because sometimes interactions in movies, you're like, there ain't no way they've met before. Like it kind of just seems like a random person.
Yeah.
But with Blaine, you knew off the bat they'd know each other. Henchmen are funny. They're afraid of him. And Dennis Terrell. Dennis Terrell is obnoxious in a way that you can be like, oh, this guy's a sick fuck, but you think he's funny.
Yeah.
Don't you got anything to say?
No, not really. I think you two tapped on that very well, and I don't really have anything else to add that you guys didn't touch on.
All right, well, I think you got a lot to say here.
Yes, I do.
Shocker. So let's go.
All right, so Shocker. God, I've got so many side characters. Let's start off. The one that we see the least of, Overdrive. Not really a major side character, but he gets the job done, and he's funny for what he needs to be. Lets the plot go on. Give me 5 minutes.
Yeah, I gave you some extra.
Okay. All right. Then Chameleon also does what needs to be done with it. Delivers a plot to its next point. We'll do Spider-Man next. Spider-Man sort of serves as a small antagonist to Shocker and Electro, and then it kind of flips once Shocker, wants to do things right and turns himself in and everything.
I really like that scene, by the way.
Yes, I do too.
Yeah,
they did a really good job there. Then he sort of turns into this, for lack of a better term, a therapist, sort of. Just kind of sit down and tell him, like, hey, this is why I do what I do, and I don't want to do it anymore. Help me get out of it. Then you get into the two major side characters with this. Hammerhead, who is also sort of like a small antagonist. Brady does a great job with that, and he really serves as a sort of a thorn in Shocker's side, because he needs to pay him, but he's kind of indebted to Hammerhead and his goons. And then Anna and Marty Schultz, which is Shocker's wife, and I'm including the son too. You never see him, but he's
part of the story.
He's part of it. Anna serves as Anna and Marty both serve as the whole drive behind Shocker, why he does what he does, so that he can support them, support her, support his child, even though she doesn't want him to do it. It's his drive, it's his determination, and that's of course very important in any story. So yeah, great characters all around, great writing for each of the characters that we see. Strong acting with them, strong plot lines.
Don't forget Chameleon.
I see Chameleon.
You did?
Yeah, he did.
Whoopsie. F4.
Chameleon you don't really see much of. He just kind of drives
the
plot. But yeah, no, great side characters.
Yep.
We have much more. Maybe a few words.
I said that Hammerhead is established as someone who's a threat to Shocker on a more personal level.
Yeah.
Like, whereas Electro and other people are like kind of part of his superhero life, Hammerhead gets him on the level of he's ruining his personal life.
Yeah.
Anna Schultz is established as a foil to Herman, who makes him realize that he is a bad person at the end of the day. The other villains like Chameleon and Overdrive mesh well with the two leads. And I said the same thing that I said with Blaine and Gambit, that you could realistically tell that they have met before.
Yeah.
Especially Chameleon, because Chameleon even states that he knows them and has his knows their reputation. I love Spider-Man's inclusion here. He's super accurate to his other appearances, and you could fully believe that he's the same Spider-Man that you've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you wouldn't be like, oh, that's a whole different guy. You could believe that's Spider-Man you saw in, like, Sins Rising.
Which is crazy, because it's a completely different actor.
Yeah. What? Anything?
I mean, y'all kind of knocked it out of the ballpark, but I really liked Anna. Anna, like, I love how dramatic she was.
She was right, bro.
Yeah,
She was right.
she was. But I love, like, just like all those scenes, especially the one where goes to her apartment. That was really, like, dramatic and just eye-opening, and you know, one. I mean, Kendall really did good on that. So yeah,
I'd say it's one of her best roles, even though it's not a superhero or a villain, it's just a random character, but still.
yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing with Jack Mack and Rosenthal, right? Imagine if that one was up there. All right. Well, I guess that leads to me. Crazy enough, I don't really have a lot to say because there's really not a lot of side characters. There's really not a lot of characters in Quicksilver. There's
So 5 actors, I think, in the whole movie.
Yeah, you have Jane's parents, who, I mean, they serve as a good establishment of what kind of person that Jane was. You have the people that she kills, which, while they're not super, like, important, I do think they kind of serve to show what kind of world that Jane is fighting against. Because that's one thing that makes a villain a good villain is the world around them. Like, you have to understand why the villain's doing what they're doing. And when you meet people like Swiss and Ides and Hugh Grant, you're like, those people deserve to die. But while they might not have been like good supporting characters, like, because obviously they weren't, friends, the main character or the villain, they were characters that you met along the way that were interesting. And like, sure, they didn't have like fully developed characters, but the things that they did.
Yeah.
And it served the plot perfectly, because like, you were just like looking at these people and you're like, wow, damn. And then they died and you're like, shit. And the thing is like, you don't forget about them.
Yeah.
Like, you see flashes of their deaths through the movies, and even though they're not really like important, like in terms of like they don't physically appear again, or you don't hear from them again, their deaths are felt throughout the film, because obviously Pietro, he's affected by their deaths greatly, because it not only is innocent people dying, but it also is affecting his reputation as a person. And the cops, obviously, you need to get to the bottom of it, and it affects Jane, because the more Jane kills, the more not only does it kill her, but she also regrets it. So these characters, while they might not be on the levels of, a Gambit and a Blaine and a Lucy, or a Spider-Man, a Hammerhead, and other people, they are perfect as plot devices.
Yes.
Which I'd say they do a good job of that. The cops, while they don't have much character, they are good. They're good foils for Pietro, because obviously the cops, they're slow talking, they have to do things methodically, whereas Pietro's go, 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 go. He's impatient. He needs to do it now, because it's all he knows. It's fast. And it goes to show his character. What I think everything in this film does, it does the same thing that Wolverine's does. It supports the main character. Whereas the Shocker characters, they support the world that they're in. Wolverine's does that and supports him. Pietro's fully supports himself and the plot. And that's about it I have to say for mine, unless you guys have anything else to say.
I don't think you hit the hammer on the head there.
Hammerhead.
Or hit the nail on the head.
All right, well, 5 minutes. Let's discuss who we think is the best in the side characters. All around. You can comment on his, mine, I'll comment on yours, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, they're all great. Each movie has, its own type of side characters
Mm-hmm.
for what it needs in plot.
Yeah.
Wolverine, they're all, everybody has a place in that movie. You have Lucy is the drive. Joe is his support. Gambit is his support. What was
Blaine.
Blaine is a device to move the plot from one place to the next. So everybody has a role there.
Mm-hmm.
Same
Yeah,
with
definitely.
Shocker. They each have their own role. Overdrive, just somebody to help move the plot along. Spider-Man, like I said, serves both an antagonist, then a supporting character. And with yours, like you said, they all have their own places. You don't really forget about the guys that were killed because they might not have been there long for you to really get to know them, but you know enough to where it's like, okay, these guys are important.
And the effects of their death are felt.
Yes.
This one's hard. This one's a hard one because his characters are all really good. Yours are all good. Mine, I mean, they're good in a different way.
Yeah. They do what needs to be done.
Right.
I don't know, boss.
I don't know either. Why? What do you think?
I really do like. I mean, I know Quicksilver doesn't have a lot, but I really like Officer Ray.
Of course he does.
Not for obvious reasons, but like Officer Ray, I wrote like he's just a down to earth, chill guy. I'm not mentioning the meme, but
Oh, again.
but he's just and Shocker. I really liked freaking. Well, Shocker had a lot, but Shocker. I really, like I said, I liked Anna. I thought Chameleon. I know Chameleon wasn't a whole lot, but I thought Chameleon was well, he wasn't really the drive. Was he more the drive or was? Well, no.
Chameleon was sort of like the carrier, sort of.
Chameleon was like the big part that made the heist happen.
Yeah, he moved the plot.
He really did.
Yeah, he was the heart of the heist because he was the one that was being, the security guards and Spider-Man.
And Spider-Man, like you said, I like how you just couldn't tell. It was. Augie's trying to get in, but it basically was the same Spider-Man, not the same actor. It had two different actors in there actually. One's sitting across from me.
Yeah, that's me.
Hello, motherfucker.
Okay.
Yeah. Which the other Spider-Man was actually played by Hayden Jones, and you couldn't even tell. I mean, Hayden sounded a lot like Ben.
You can see
So-
the hair. That's
Yeah, the hair is really
the hair. That was back when he had all that long ginger locks or whatever. But
Defend yourself, bro.
and my characters, of course, they really go with the whole aspect of my movie or Brady's movie. But I mean, I really did like. I mean, the rabbi wasn't really relatable to the aspect of the whole
You
country
had-
vibe. But
you had a large array of personalities.
yes,
Characters.
yes,
So you had your sad country girl who's whatever and gets killed,
yeah,
and you got your funny sheriff who gets killed.
yeah.
You have a bunch of different personalities, and they all fit really well.
So I would suffice to say yours are more diverse than these two. Because with Shocker, you have 3 supervillains, Spider-Man and Anna Schultz. Which, I mean, the villains are all kind of Chameleon and Overdrive are the same, basically. Sorry, that was my timer. We'll might as well keep it. Yeah, it's funny, I know. That's also my wake-up ringtone and my phone ringtone. It's hilarious. I hear that a lot. But shockers, I would say they're good, but a few of them just their effects aren't lasting. Like, yeah, Hammerhead takes his money, but like, what really happens? He just takes his money.
He just takes it.
Spider-Man. Spider-Man's probably the only one that has Spider-Man and Anishal are the ones that have a lasting effect. Chameleon just gets fucking duped. And Overdrive is in one scene.
Quantity wise, I win.
Quantity you have the most of.
But quality,
I'd have to give it to Wolverine. Because even the villain side characters are interesting. You have the obnoxious prick sheriff, who's honestly kind of funny. You have some people. You have the guy Blaine that he knew, who has a lot of knowledge about weapons. You have Gambit, a former member of the X-Men, who tries to rope him into his past life. You have Lucy, a random person that he meets that he swears that he'd protect, and then once he doesn't, it's what makes his descent. His descent into killing everyone. And then you have Joe, the brother of Lucy, who comes into the plot as someone to kind of help Logan figure out his place in the current time. I think Wolverine probably just has the best. Quicksilvers are essentially just plot devices.
Yeah.
They all just exist to make the story happen. Granted, they are long lasting, but I think it goes to show that most of Wolverine's characters only appear in one scene, but they have so much more personality. Like Overdrive appears in one scene, and he's fine. Chameleon appears, but he plays other people, so he's not even really himself. And mine are just a bunch of dudes that get killed. So I'm gonna say Wolverine wins the side characters.
Yeah.
Right, next, I'm gonna go with plot.
Okay.
So what I think I'm gonna do, instead of writing timers, and we're just gonna talk until we're done, and then move on to the next person. All right, what? Go about your plot.
I didn't even put it, but oh well. I basically know. I really like.
It is very. What does it say?
It is very dark and.
Oh,
But anyway, I mean, yeah, it really is dark and pretty gritty. If you're looking at it from Mr. X's point of view, definitely. But I mean, there's some lightheartedness to it. But all in all, I mean, the evilness is there, and I love how Wolverine is just trying to stop this motherfucker, and it's I love the whole journey he makes throughout the movie, and it's got some fear factor to it, but I mean, in the end, good triumphs, and I mean, yeah.
Dalton, anything you want to say about Wolverine's plot?
I basically put it as it comes down to it's the typical old western Lone Ranger comes into town, townspeople need help. He helps, becomes entrenched in whatever's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that.
Which it's a success story. You see years and decades of movies doing that, and they all succeed. So it's a great story to be based around. Great plot line to be based around. And it's really a lot of it is Logan figuring out that his past doesn't make him who he is. He still can do so much good, and he learns that every time in the movie. Those are two things I took away from the story.
I wrote that the story follows a good hero's journey format with obviously the movie starts off with the status quo. Logan's a guy in a town with a bunch of people that are just townspeople.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as we know, that's all it is. He meets a girl, works at a cafe, he gets coffee every morning. It's the normal life. But then it slowly turns into a world of evil and violence. The film goes from telling us that Lucy's seen more meaner men than Wolverine, and that she's afraid something's going to happen. And obviously, Logan's like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Everything's fine here." Like as far as she knows, the town's fine. There's nothing wrong with the town.
It's quiet.
But then he's really thrust into the story once Lucy comes up dead with bullet casings all over the floor, and he's like, "Wow, okay, maybe she was onto something." And he starts to get thrust into the evil of what she really meant.
Yeah.
The plot is just really straightforward. There's literally no filler at all. Like,
No.
everything matters in the story. There's no filler. The dialogue and the fights are perfectly placed in the story. Like, I don't think that it and them sort of been switched around. Like, they happened all perfectly in sequence. The ending makes you want to know what happens next. Because, it ends with Wolverine going, I'm not a monster anymore. I was never an animal. And Gambit's like, yeah, I know. And so you're like, well, now that Wolverine kind of has this realization, what does he do now? That's everything I got for Wolverine. If you're ready to move on to Shocker.
Yeah. Shocker, the story is basically, they pull off the big one. And, it's everything that they want. It's great, perfect. Everything, they're living like kings. And Shocker slowly begins to realize that, he has all this stuff, but if he doesn't, it's not getting him what he wants. It's not getting him the people that he loves back in his life. And he realizes it's not worth it. He goes on this redemption arc to, become better, do good for once, and it's a nice little story. It's not anything big. It doesn't really need to be, but it's it tells a story, gets you interested. First off, you think it's just going to be this sort of like a buddy cop movie where they just go off and pull up big heists and nothing else happens, but then it flips in the last second when you least expect it, and it's a really good storytelling with it. Comedy is gold. Ben and Isaiah are
Isaac.
Or Isaac, yes, sorry. Skrillex, sorry. They are
One of those guys.
one of those Blairs. They are comedic geniuses. Ben is off the walls with his comedy. Brady, comedic genius. So yeah, it's got a little bit of everything. It's got its sad moments. I specifically wrote down Shocker's crash out after Anna won't take the money. Those are always really good scenes to see. It's just that final breakdown of like, what have I done wrong in my life to lead to this moment? And now you climb back up the ladder. And it's really cool to see, and they did a really good job of making it.
I said that I really like Wolverine. The plot is very simple, very effective.
Yeah.
There's no filler. The amount of thought that Shocker and Elektra put into their big heist, I love it, and I love the fact that Shocker put all this time and thought into this just to be like, man,
Fuck it.
why did I even do that?
Yeah.
And the second heist is very well written and directed, and almost make you think that they're actually like super good criminals when really they're not. They just so happen to have the right resources.
Yeah, they got lucky.
Wyatt, anything to say? Plot of Shocker.
About Shocker. I mean, yeah, it really is straightforward and very hilarious. It's got that comedy aspect, and it's also pretty sad, especially. Well, not really. Yeah, towards the end, it really is sad. I love that. Like I said, I love that scene with him and Spider-Man at the end. It damn near makes you choked up. You know what I mean?
Dude, I love when Herman's just like, ready to give up, and Spider-Man's like, "This is a joke."
Yeah.
It's that's how like, he's developing to the point where even Spider-Man is like confused as to what is even happening.
Yeah.
It's like, is this an ambush? Are there other villains around here? They're gonna jump me?
Spider-Man thinks this is a trick or something, but
Nope.
He's
Shocker's
fought-
just ready to move on.
He's fought Shocker for how long now, and now he's just completely different.
Yeah, that never happens.
Yeah.
Never. Not even with any of his villains that we've seen so far. Venom, it took time for him to become who he is. Goblin never changed.
No.
every villain that he fights stays the same. So when he sees someone like Shocker who's just ready to throw it all away, he's like, dang. That's all I got for Shocker. Now we'll move on to Quicksilver. I love one thing that makes the movie's plot exciting in the first beginning. Like Wolverine obviously starts with, you get some anecdotal stuff from Lucy. Electro and Shocker's movie starts off with like them failing a heist.
Yeah.
Quicksilver's movie immediately starts with this cosmic entity creates a fetus, and then 16 years later that it's a girl who is murdering someone. And you're immediately just thrust into the story of the villain, who starts the plot by killing her first victim, and you see her story. Like, you're automatically like, okay, this is the character that I'm watching now. And the plot even shows who Pietro is right off the bat, because he immediately tackles the fact that he's accused of murder, showing his utter impatience and his pride, because he's like, people can't be thinking this about me. I'm obviously better than this. The plot follows like a typical murder mystery. Pietro picks up leads and evidence, which, like the other two that I forgot to mention this, but what I like about this matchup we're doing is not only are they short films, but they're totally new genres. Western, heist, murder mystery. 3 genres you've never tackled. Mm-hmm. And all of them you get thrown into them immediately. And one thing I like a lot about the plot is that you see the murders from Jane's perspective. And it helps to kind of show what exactly Pietro is dealing with here. It's not some, crazy cosmic threat. It's not some supervillain bent on domination. It's a girl who's just struggling and out of her mind. And Jane's, the factor of she knows that she's going to die, versus Pietro's, resolve to become stronger and faster. It's like it's a very interesting dichotomy throughout the plot. Augie is trying to break into my room yet again. Let that man in here. Open the door, or the rocks through your window.
Come on. Oh, now you're laying. Okay. There you go. Come on. Good boy.
We got the king in here.
Now, Augie is in the house. And he's
Augie, what's your favorite short film?
Augie the movie.
Augie the movie.
Food in my bowl, bitch.
Okay.
Okay. I was not thinking of that. But no. Obviously Quicksilver has a very interesting plot because it's a movie which does something that the other two didn't do, which is make you care about both the hero and the villain. The hero, he's prideful, but at the end of it all, he wants to save people, and he's a good guy. He's a hero. And no matter what kind of person he is in his mind, he's a good person. And the villain, obviously, she's someone who is tortured by, things that have happened in her life. And it's a plot that almost makes you root for the villain to win. Because you're like, man, this Jane girl, she has a pretty noble pursuit. Granted, the way she does it is terrible, by stabbing people to death. Yeah. But then the more you find out, you realize, she is working on a limited time. In her mind, working and saving the people that, not saving them, but getting vengeance for those that she cared about, their loss, their abuse. Doing that is an utterly good thing.
You want her to get that closure.
Yeah, you almost want her to, finish the people off and then just die, rest in peace. But then obviously at the same time, you want Pietro to be cleared of his name. And when Pietro gets closer and closer to the equation, you think, could Pietro help her? Or, will she complete it? And it's a plot that leaves you, you wonder. With Shocker, you're like, who knows if he'll get it or not. Yeah. And with Wolverine, at the end of the day, you're just seeing a story to its ending of him, killing people. But the Quicksilver story, it makes you question what is going to happen and what you want to happen. Yeah. Do you want Quicksilver to stop her? Do you want her to finish the job?
I wrote that I found it really intriguing that you introduced the villain first in Quicksilver. I always love that because it gives in a lot of movies like that, protagonist just gets too much time to shine. Antagonist doesn't get any. That gives the antagonist their moment to be like, okay, what the fuck's going on here? Like, why is this person doing this?
I love introducing villains first.
Yeah.
I've always done that. It's so much fun. Because I love good villains. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how it is. And I think the plot really helps with the building of the characters. But that's all I got to say for Quicksilver. Why, you got anything to say?
Yeah, I like how the antagonist. I didn't even mention that, but that's really good how the antagonist is showed first. But I really do like how at first Quicksilver, she's trying to make Quicksilver look like the killer. That was really clever because I mean it kind of seems like
That's a power that super speed could do. Just
Yeah.
kill people at such a speed that you wouldn't even be able to tell.
yeah, and she like kind of has that power since she can stop time, but that was really clever, and I really liked how some of the people that were getting killed kind of deserved it, but that, that's another thing, and it really is sad. I really like I didn't even mention that I like the music. I like a lot of the detective music in it, but
The score is gas.
yes, definitely. But
Shame I didn't win that category.
yeah,
You're the one that picked it.
It's a 3-man vote here, man. Just that's all I got to say for Quicksilver. If you want to all debate between ourselves now, and try to pick this category out.
Oh, I know, man. I think my plot's good, but I don't know if it's good enough to compete with the other two. I think it's just kind of this is a feel good movie that has its own layer of sadness to it.
The plots are so different.
Yeah.
Wolverine's is like his own redemption story.
Yep.
His Shockers is kind of similar in a way, but
But it's got its
instead of him, finishing the job to get to that point, it's him giving up the job. Whereas Pietro's is obviously him trying to figure out what's happening so that his redemption can be in the way that he, defeats the villain and saves human lives, but not in the same way that someone like Wolverine would. Or it's all kind of a redemption arc, honestly. Wolverine, he's trying to fix who he is in his own head. Shocker, he's trying to fix who he is to those he loves, and Pietro is trying to fix who he is to the public.
Yeah.
They're all trying to better themselves, which I think is... Man, I didn't even think about that when I made this matchup. These movies had a lot more similar things than I thought.
honestly. I think I'm gonna give it to Quicksilver on that one, just because of the whole thing with Jane and everything. It really adds that extra layer to it.
Yeah, I think the Quicksilver movie integrates the villain so much better than the other two does, because in Shocker, you don't even know who the villain really is.
No.
Is it Hammerhead? Is Electro? Is it him himself?
You don't really have a villain per se. You just have
yeah,
an antagonist.
Right. You got a couple. And Wolverine, his is a straightforward story.
yeah, real.
Somebody dies, so he starts murdering people.
Yes.
But Pietro, there's two ongoing plots, and you're kind of like, which one's gonna be the finisher? You can't decide. Do you want morality to win, or do you want justice to win? So, we're gonna give it to Quicksilver for this one. So now they all officially have one.
We're all tied right now.
All right. For next, we're going to do cinematography. Wyatt, are you ready to rock? I think you can talk a good bit about the cinematography in Wolverine, because it is spectacular.
I can.
All these movies have great cinematography. This one's a hard one.
Wolverine. Brady is so good at capturing colors, and I mean, he knows what time of day to film too. Like when I was confronting his character,
That golden hour at the freaking
my
BFS
God.
was amazing.
That way-
Wolverine and the sunset.
yeah, especially when I was about to shut the door, and I said, "Watch me." That was so good.
Yeah.
And
You can't just walk away.
watch
me.
I would have made that trailer sharper.
Yeah, that was so good too. We even said that like when we were filming that, we were like, "Oh my God, this is gonna look so good." But
That would have been like that's the final thing that you see in the trailer, and he just shuts the door and Wolverine.
but I
Perfect.
really like. It reminds me of No Country for Old Men. You remember that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, that I should have mentioned that earlier, but like how dark and gritty it is. Besides, well, it does have a lot of music. No Country for Old Men doesn't really. It has like one song in that, but or one score. But I mean, yeah,
I think it's beautiful in a very natural way.
yes.
Because like Wolverine has always been one with like nature and the world,
Mm-hmm.
and I love that it shows that kind of when he's doing these things, in the city, you still see those glitzes of the beauty of the real world, like the sun sets, and it's just like wow,
Mm-hmm.
naturally beautiful. Um, I really like. There's a lot of what I would call money shots. Obviously, the scene where Wolverine turns around and does that smile towards the camera, that's a money shot.
Yep.
The one where he gets up from, in the fight scene where they're shooting him and he gets up and he kind of gives that sneer towards the camera, that's a freaking great shot.
Yeah.
A lot of the shots in the Mr. X fights are money shots. The one, I wrote this one down because this one I think you'll both agree on right here. The shot where Lucy's hand is laying off the bed and there's bullets and he's standing in the doorway.
Yeah.
That's a money shot right there.
Yeah.
Um,
Only bad shot is when I'm talking to Blaine, and I'm like, not yet, soon.
I wouldn't call it a shot. I'd call it more of your expression.
Yeah.
Is that everything you got to say about that?
I think so. Yeah.
I said the camera does a good job of making Wolverine look small and uncomfortable in the beginning. The dialogue scenes are well shot. Really like how the bar scenes with Gambit are shot. They're very personal looking. The angles the film are shot at are unique and show the tone of the scenes. Lucy's body, great angle for that one. The lighting goes to show how dark the world can get, but also how beautiful it can be. I love the ambient shots of the streets, the sunset, and the trees. The shots meant to convey a big moment are always well shot, the money shots.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of good cinematography in Wolverine, truly. That's all I've got to say.
Yeah.
Same way with me. I wrote specifically all the scenes have a great aura to them.
Yeah,
Just all
very,
the way
very
around.
cinematic.
The cuts are always good. Angles and position
One
of the
thing
camera.
I've always really liked about the Wolverine movie is how beautiful it is, how good it looks. The colors pop out. There's shots the money shots are so good. The sunset shot. Oh, there's just a lot to love watching it. Physically watching it, there's so much love. And we'll move to Shocker.
Sorry, I got like 5,000 things going on at one time. Cinematography wise with Shocker, it's a lot of the same things. You can definitely tell.
Cocker.
Yes. With Cogger, you see a lot of the same. It was Wolverine. Of course, Brady made both these movies, so he's going to have the same sort of vibe with him.
And it works very well.
Yes. One thing I loved, they shot a lot of it in Morgantown, which is just 45 minutes up the road from us. It's a beautiful little college town.
Yep.
And just it was a nice change of scenery for the YMCU, and Brady really knew where to go to get good shots.
Mm-hmm.
The PRT shot in the opening, sort of like
I like that shot a lot.
roller, amazing. Good angles, good positioning of the camera. I really enjoyed. I pointed this one out specifically, the crash out scene in the car. I pointed that out in my notes. But yeah, a lot of scenes in Wolverine, it's just very good positioning, angles, lighting, everything. So yeah.
I said the opening shots, the very first opening shots, are really good at showcasing the city of New York. Several shots make Shocker appear small, worthless, and alone. The one shot where it's Hammerhead and his men beat him up, and then it's like panning away as he's just laying there on the ground. Love that shot. The lighting and the colors are very, very well done. The costumes are very vibrant, very colorful, comic-like. And every scene is just cinematic. And the movement is good. I think it's all very action-packed. Action-packed and colorful.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Well, I mean, I love all the angles and I really do like the Brady also does another good job with all the colors, and I mean, but it's very crisp and clear, especially the opening scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and and the fight scenes they have really good lighting. Yeah,
Yep. Is that everything?
Yeah.
I guess that moves on to me. Oh. Um, so what I really would like to highlight with the Quicksilver cinematography is the scenes with the murders. Um, it's the scenes are very horror-esque almost, like the very awkward Dutch angles. It makes the victim look small. They're kind of sometimes in the background, whereas the killer looks large. They're usually very dark and dingy. And especially in the very first scene, the shot where he's sitting in the kitchen and the world is just wide around him. You're like, there's going to be something that comes in from somewhere, but you don't know from where. But then later on, you find out it was already in there.
Mm-hmm.
It was never outside waiting. It was already in the house. Yeah. And then the shot that introduces her is great because it's not even her. It's just him. He walks in the hallway. He looks in the living room and he spits up water. And he says, "What are you doing here?" And then that trends to her. I really like a lot of the scenes with the killings, just in general.
Yeah.
I really like, obviously the first scene I think is very well shot. The shot where it's his body and it's like slowly panning up to show like him like just like spread out there like that. One's really good. I really like all the interrogation scenes because, Pietro gets very close to the camera to kind of symbolize that he's getting close to the case and that he's personally involved. The killing of Hugh Grant, I like that shot a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It does a really good job of showcasing Janet's mobility and stop time. For example, the one scene where he's on top of her and she stops time, and like it starts with her and it pans up to him just frozen. I really like how it's framed because it makes Wyatt look like he's just completely frozen in time.
Yeah.
And then some other shots where he just doesn't move, and then when she restarts time, he just falls. They do a really good job of conveying that. And the one shot I really like from that is when the knife is going towards him and it's like fixated on the knife, and then when it gets to him, it just pans to him. Yeah.
A lot of really cool shots.
A lot of really cool shots. And, the most of the cool shots are just around the whole time stopping ability, which I'll talk more about that when we get to like the fight scenes and that kind of thing. But the visuals of the time stop are just so cool. The fact that everything is black and white except for Jane's purple aesthetic, because she's the only thing that can move and stop time. And then eventually, when Quicksilver moves through stop time, his blue comes out. I like that a lot because it goes to show that like this is the new power that he gains, is the ability to move fast enough that he can transcend the dimension of stop time. Just any scenes with the stop time are cool. I really like the scenes with Ides where the meat cleaver is stuck in front of his face and it pans back to her, and then I love the shot where he's like slowly like walking towards the meat cleaver and he just smacks it, and then he just springs to life with color. And it's just kind of that switch that he's like, I've become able to move by just sheer will. I really like that. But other than that, I really like all the awkward angles with the killings. The one shot of her face where it's like really close to her and her eyes look fucking huge. I like how unsettling that is. And I like some of the shots with the drunk dad that Wyatt plays where he's like kind of on the left side to where it looks like he has like no room for himself. I like that. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Anybody?
I really like when Jane stops time, everything's great except for her because she's the only one that is able to move. And I like how Kendall's hair looks. It's really cool. And but I like how Quicksilver always like kind of seems to glow. But I really like how Quicksilver always seems to glow in his moments, and it has like a lot of different camera angles. I mean, it's either dark and gritty or it's just very light. Happy.
A little trippy. Very trippy. Especially that opening part.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll watch that if you take drugs. But
Especially 3 a.m.
Yep.
It's like those videos you see of like the bathrooms that have like the checkered floor. It's like you don't want to walk in here when you're high. That's the kind of thing.
Yeah. All right, and now let's debate the best of our three. This one's a hard one because you have the beauty shots of Wolverine, the colorful angles of Shocker, and the borderline horror sequences of Quicksilver.
Yeah.
They're all totally different and beautiful in their own ways.
I don't know which to pick. Honestly, I really don't.
I don't either. But
They're all good in their own ways.
Yeah, that's the hard part right there.
It might have to be a tie.
I think the best thing to do is remove the aesthetics and specifically look at momentary angles that like convey big moments and like general world building.
I honestly think Wolverine kind of has that because like
I would agree.
There's a lot of like shots that has a lot of like big moments, like you said when Shayla's character's dead and you see her hand and then Wolverine's in the background.
Also, the shot, I forgot to mention this one, where the rabbi's sitting on there and he's like several feet away, and then it flips perspectives to him just walking.
Yeah.
I really like that.
A lot of good camera placement in that movie.
Wolverine has a lot of good cinematography in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's generally probably the best. Yours is great for the aesthetic that it has. Mine is good for like a horror thing. But his is generally the best. And it's just beautiful to look at. So I'll give this one to Wolverine. Alright, I already know who's going to win the next one, but we're going to talk about it anyway. Fight scenes. What?
Well, very bloody.
I'm good at that when you do that.
But
You have a lot more to talk about than I do.
yeah.
I got nothing.
But very, very bloody, very gritty. There are some moments where I kind of slip up and like my hand's like going a little, so which that was my fault. But you can ignore that. That was like my first like major role, and I was like kind of nervous. But yeah, that was probably the bloodiest film we've done so far. Do you think?
I'd say.
Yeah.
It's that and Midnight Suns. I mean,
yeah. Which I was only in like one scene in Midnight Suns, and that was like my first time filming. But
yeah.
But yes, Wolverine definitely has a grungy freaking effect on their fighting scenes.
Yeah, I love it.
I do too.
I love the fight scenes. They're just so good.
They are.
I think Wolverine might have some of the best fight scenes in the YTMCU in general. His fight with Mr. X, especially. Great final fight. The fight with the Cowboys from Hell fight, fucking amazing.
I loved filming that. And
the first scene, the bar fight scene, is really good.
Yeah.
The only fight scene I think I really don't care for is probably the one with Freebird, honestly, because some of the effects are a little janky.
Yeah.
But other than that,
I was terrified filming the fight scene with Mr. X because Alex had actual swords. But
yeah. Other than that, though, I mean, it has some really good fights. One of those fights, period. I guess I'll talk about Quicksilver since Dalton is currently not present. I'll talk about it for a second. Well, Mom. Okay. I'll have to re-edit that. But I wouldn't say Quicksilver has any fight scenes per se, like in a traditional sense. Her fight with the drunk dad's kind of a fight scene, kind of, because he hits her with the beer bottle and then she stabs him. He shoots her a little bit. Some good stuff there. If you consider that a fight scene, I think it's pretty good because it's very tense, very intense. Um, I don't think it has like the necessarily like the cool factor of the Wolverine fights or the colorfulness of the Spider-Man and Electro fights or anything like that. But it definitely is like that super tense fight. You're like, could he possibly kill her? All stuff like that. And then the thing I'd consider a fight scene closest to that is the scene where Pietro is frozen and he's trying to break out to get the meat cleaver.
Yeah.
That's a very high stakes moment because he's not necessarily fighting against her physically, but he's fighting against time.
Yeah.
And obviously he's trying to convince himself that he's strong enough. He's like, if I can't be fast enough, I'm not good enough. I can't do it. I'm nothing. That kind of way that he thinks. I really like that whole bit because it kind of goes to show that at the end of the day, Quicksilver is fueled by not only his pride as the fastest man alive, but as someone who wants to save people. Because he talks about the people that died, the people that were lost, the innocence that was ripped away that could have, because he believes that people should have second chances, even though he knocks Jonathan Ives out with the Punisher, sends him packing. But at the end of the day, Quicksilver is a hero. He's an Avenger. He believes that people deserve to have second chances. And that whole fight is him motivating himself with that ideal that people deserve another chance, and that if this man dies, it's on him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Granted, of course, not really a fight, but I think if you want to consider it one, then it's really good. Big moment in the story in terms of characterization, because that's when Quicksilver breaks out and becomes stronger than he was before. Other than that, I don't really think there is any really fight scenes in Quicksilver. It's more of a story, more of a story driven. Which, I mean, that's something that's more new for our movies.
Honestly, the only scene that would kind of be considered a fight scene is my character. What's his name? Hugh.
Hugh.
Yeah. When I break the beer bottle. When I don't really break it, but I hit the beer bottle over Jane's face.
Yeah, that one's kind of a fight scene.
Yeah.
I'd say that one's a fight. Like, actually, probably a fight.
Because I did write that down, but yeah.
Other than that, there's not much. It's mainly you see Quicksilver's skills through his intelligence and his speed, rather than his
Definitely.
actual
Definitely.
fighting abilities.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mute this until Dalton comes back, so I have a placeholder as to where I need to re-edit. I just remembered I had more to say about the Wolverine stuff, the fights in Wolverine, because I kind of wrote a lot about them. I said the first fight scene with the bar was really well shot and edited. Wolverine's ruthlessness and killing intent are on full display in every single fight. Even though he doesn't really kill anybody at the bar, you can tell he's not fucking around. The fights, they showcase Logan's powers, his regeneration, his claws, obviously, his super senses, where he can smell people coming, hear them coming, and his utter toughness, honestly. That really puts Wolverine up there in the toughest characters, just physically. The music and sound effects are really well placed. Like I really love the sounds that Wolverine's claws make when he unsheathes them, and then when he stabs them into people. The final fight with Mr. X might be one of the very best fight scenes ever in my MCU. And it shows that Logan isn't like invincible, and that X's ruthlessness and Wolverine's toughness are on full display. And obviously, X's death is super satisfying. Like you just wanted that dude to die. In that fight scene, you were almost like, is Wolverine in trouble? Because X kind of has some stuff on him, you know, those carbonadium swords and his sheer skill. But obviously, Wolverine's pure rage just prevails, and he wins through that. So perfect timing, because now Dalton is back, and he can talk about Shocker. I already talked about
Did you
Quicksilver.
piss or shit?
Number 2.
I figured as much.
Anyways, what are we on?
Fight scene.
Fight scenes. Shocker fight scenes. I already talked about the maybe 2 Quicksilver has.
Yeah.
And then we talked about Wolverine's.
Shocker's got a couple, and I mean they're not like the greatest in the world, but they do what they're supposed to. I particularly like. Actually, really, I think there's only like 2, maybe 3, because there's Electro and Shocker. There's Electro and Spider-Man.
Don't forget about Shocker and Hammerhead and his goons.
Shocker and Hammerhead, which that's not really a fight, but
I'd say it was. Granted, it's a one-sided one. But
yeah,
it is still a confrontation.
yeah. There's not many fight scenes in it.
Yeah.
But the one between Shocker the one between Electro and Spider-Man is really good for a couple reasons. It gives Electro his time to shine and his abilities, but not overdoing it at the same time.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, he does the same thing in almost every single fight.
Flipping webs and dodging.
Yeah, pretty much. Shocker and Electro is a little bit more like plot-wise. You're more interested because you don't know who's going to win that one. You don't know where it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
You don't know if Shocker's going to win and take the money, or if Electro's going to win, run off with the money, and then Shocker's going to chase him.
Yeah.
You don't know where it's going to go. The Hammerhead one is just kind of sad.
Yeah. It's just Shocker getting beat up.
It's mostly sad because they take his pizza, and Pizza Al's is,
Pizza time.
the greatest pizza in
It's no longer pizza time.
No. Yeah.
Well.
But yeah, other than that, they're good for what they need to be. Good choreography.
Yeah.
They do really good with it.
I really like the Shocker and Electro, and the Shocker and Spider-Man fights are really good.
Yeah.
Yes.
I basically just brought up that Jane versus the drunk dad was kind of a fight scene.
Yeah.
Kind of. And then I said maybe the one where Quicksilver is trying to outrace Frozen Time. Maybe.
Yeah.
And then we talked about all his, obviously. So with that, let's debate.
They really,
Yeah.
I think Wolverine kind of takes the cake on that one.
Yeah. Wolverine's got more. I said, and obviously, I think Mr. X's fight with Wolverine is one of the best. Period.
I think. What did I put my notes for? Fight scenes. Camera position was good. Choreography was good. I mean, the one between him and Joe wasn't really a fight, but choreography could have been a little bit better with that one.
Yeah.
The fight scene outside the house, his first one with the sheriff and his goons. I named that as peak cinema. That was really good.
I just did the absolute cinema thing.
In general, the choreography could have been smoother, but still pretty good. And of course, a beautiful final fight scene. So, yeah, I'd say Wolverine takes the cake on that one.
I decided to add 2 more things to our list because I thought that'd be interesting to talk about. One of them we kind of already did, which was score. And the other one which would be costumes. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna have to give fight scenes to Wolverine. It's got more. They're better.
Yep.
There's maybe one that I don't like, but the rest of them are great. Love the bar fight. Love the one outside of the building with Pantera. Love the Mr. X fight.
Yeah.
Don't care much for the Freebird one, but honestly, the others are just so good. So I'm gonna have to give it to Wolverine. I guess next we'll talk about score, since we kind of already talked about music. We'll talk about score. So specifically the non-licensed music songs. Wyatt, you want to go first?
Yeah, I really like. I really like the scenes when I'm in the bar, especially at the end, the harmonica stuff. I don't know. Well, we didn't even really know what that was called, but
It's so familiar. Like I know it,
yeah,
but I don't know where from.
but yeah, especially when I look down and I said I'm not a monster, and it just fades away, and that it's so good, and it's just it just catches that aspect. You know what I mean? But, yeah, and
Okay. I looked up on IMDb some things you can use to rate a film, so I added a couple more. So now we have a more complete package, but anyway, sorry. Let me interrupt you.
but no, but yeah, and
I like the score of Wolverine.
there's well, what Red Dead Redemption would probably.
I would consider that a score.
That's a score.
That's a
Yeah.
score.
I'd
Say that and like the harmonica solos you hear in certain places.
because like I mean, and Tarantino used music from John Carpenter's The Thing for Hateful Eight, so I mean you can
Yeah.
just
I would consider that a track, like a score track,
Yeah,
rather than like a licensed music
yeah
track.
that was like so good with him and Mr. X.
That entire scene is just amazing.
It was.
I love this. I love the song.
For some reason, I didn't.
I pinned that as Mr. X's theme in the villain themes that I did. Anyway, you want to talk about your score, Mr. Gold?
I can't really talk about it too much because I hate it. It's not that I don't mean to pay attention to not pay attention to the score, but I just don't because it's just sort of there
Yeah,
helping the plot. So I can't really talk much about it. From what I heard, there was nothing that didn't fit.
I personally, it's gonna sound crazy because I haven't dissed a movie directly yet. I don't think Shocker really has a score.
Not really.
It's mostly licensed music.
I think there's a couple here and there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Just during like
The
dialogue.
only score that I can think of is Electro's fight with Hellcat. It's like the only one I can remember.
What about Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, that's like the only one that I can really think of is the Electro theme song is a score.
About to say when
And maybe when Electro fights Shocker,
Yeah.
because Electro fights Spider-Man 2 that were on the Jules song. So I just don't think it has a lot, period. Okay, so Karen already talked about Quicksilver. It's mostly score above real music. I love the music that plays when Jane kills. That is very sinister, very creepy. I love the song that plays when her parents die, and the song that plays when she is reading her journal, like when she's doing the journal and Patia's reading that. That one's so sad. I think you really get a lot of emotions from the score of Quicksilver as compared to these two. Wolverine's is like an atmospheric score.
Yeah.
Shocker has no score, and Quicksilver's is all score. So I think there's really only one option when it comes to that. I'm gonna throw the score to Quicksilver. Next, let's talk about pacing.
Okay.
That was an interesting one that came up. Pacing basically means, you know what pacing is, right? You're a film guy. You should know what pacing is.
Yeah.
Like, is a movie moving too slow, too fast, or is it just perfectly like everything goes along right?
I think Wolverine. I mean, it's kind of slow, but it's just kind of perfect because like it's just straightforward. You know, Logan. Like I said, the movie Wolverine kind of does remind me of No Country for Old Men. No Country for Old Men is a really long movie, but it doesn't really feel like a long movie. And because it's so straightforward, and that's how Wolverine is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean Wolverine's just out there getting his shit done like he always does, and yeah.
Was being a Chad in the group chat.
Ben's being emotional.
Yeah, I think Wolverine's pacing is good because, like I said, there's really nothing that like there's no filler that like cuts off the plot. Like the plot just flows very smoothly. That's really all I gotta say about that. I think the Wolverine movie's plot, like the pacing, just flows very well. Like there's, like I said earlier, there's no filler. It doesn't cut off the story. The story just goes. It's perfect. Like nothing
It feels natural.
nothing just like it's not too fast. No. It's not too slow. Like
in the beginning, it drags a tiny bit,
but that is also to establish the story.
Yeah,
so
it's supposed to.
That's introducing you to the world and what's happening. So I wouldn't say that's a bad thing.
I know some people that were friends with that would be like, it's too slow.
Well, I honestly, if you're watching a film as an action film, then yeah. But if you're actually watching a film for its story, then that scene really wasn't that freaking long.
No.
I mean, it's like 5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
That's really not long. It
works.
That's like a little above average length for a movie. But
that's what it needs to do.
Yeah. So I'd say Wolverine's pacing is magnifique.
Shocker is... It's kind of like a roller coaster. You go up and down, up and down, up and down a lot.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And, you know, it goes from one scene to the next very well. None of them really seem to drag on longer than they need to. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just average and normal and does its purpose. So.
Yeah. I'd say the same thing.
Yeah.
Quicksilver, really the story just kind of flows in one direction. It's like a speedster. It just moves along and gets to the ending. I wouldn't say there's anything that like stops the film in its tracks per se. Like it's all good. The one thing I'd say is like close to it is the scene where Pietro goes back to his house and like debating on what it is. But I wouldn't say that stops the plot because it's still part of the plot. He's thinking about what comes next. So I think they all have a really good pacing. It's hard to pick, honestly.
Yeah, I don't really know which one would be over the others.
I had to really think about it on a higher level. Wolverine's it's very straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Shockers kind of goes up and down, and I know that can be a little disorienting to some people. Not to me per se,
but it works.
But yeah, but it works. Quicksilver's it happens. Really. I'm gonna say this one is a draw.
Yeah.
I actually can't pick one.
I was thinking the same.
I actually can't pick one. So I'm gonna say as a draw. Because none of them have a scene that just appears and is like, oh, I'm stopping the plot, or it's too slow. Like every scene that comes up serves the purpose that it's made for. So I'm gonna say this one is a.
So is that point to each or no points at all?
I'm gonna say point to each. Next one, I'm gonna go with theme. Which basically means like which movie has like the best moral message or like general theme behind it.
Okay.
Which we did kind of talk about earlier, with like all of them are kind of a redemption arc, but they're all different. So.
I mean, yeah, Logan's redemption. I mean, he's, like I said, the famous Western cowboy stuff, kind of. But I mean, he's got PTSD, kind of, from all of his past, and Gambit kind of lets him know about that, and. I mean, and he's hunting down some really serious motherfuckers. But, yeah.
I love the way that you say that word.
But,
real life Arthur over here.
Yeah.
Morgan.
Yeah.
So I think the theme of Wolverine is good. I don't think the theme ever breaks.
No.
Like it's very consistent.
Shocker wise, really, at the base of it, the theme is at the end of the day, you can have $5.5 million to your name, have this fame as being the one that pulled off the big score and everything. If you don't have the people you love, none of it matters. That's a really good message and a good theme to have. For people to see is, that stuff's not everything.
Yeah.
The little things are what's important. Having your family, having the people you love, being comfortable with your life. Not being fake with it. That's a really good theme with it. Of course, redemption arcs. It's never too late to do the right thing. Never too late to become a better version of yourself. And
I'd say the same thing with Wolverine, honestly.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you can with Shocker, you can be a bad guy for 10, 15 years. It's never too late to change it. Never too late to say, all right, I'm done. I'm gonna do it in my life.
I'd say the theme of Quicksilver is the idea of vengeance versus justice.
Yeah.
One person wants to obviously get vengeance for the people that she believes to have lost and the people that have been wronged. And she uses her final bits of life left to help them in any way that she can. Whereas the hero, obviously, he wants to, have justice for not only himself but for the people that have been hurt by the conflict. And the idea of the film, I believe, is just the world is not black and white.
Mm-hmm.
There's a gray area in the middle, and the film does a good idea of making you question who's right. The hero wants to stop the villain, but is what the villain doing really that bad? Like, the people that she kills, they're bad people. But then, also killing people in general is wrong, no matter what. So, who's right here? Well, I think that's it for my theme. Dalton?
I was thinking about.
What do you think?
Oh, about yours?
No, I mean, just like, in general.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I don't really think. I don't know. I hate choosing between these three because they all have really good themes. And
Yeah, it's really tight.
It's just.
These movies in general are just really.
They're all really good movies. You had to pick three hard ones to choose from.
That's the point.
Asshole.
It was easy, then it wouldn't be a matchup.
I don't know. I'll go with mine just because, I'm supposed to. But
I'm honestly probably gonna have to say his too. The theme of what Shocker's story is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it really is. I might have to go with it as well.
The idea that it is never too late to be a good person is pretty something we have never explored. And that's, of course, something that inspired me to write more villain-based stories where they become better people, or even just anti-heroes becoming better people. So I'd have to say, probably going to go with Shocker there. Shocker. All right. Next, we are going to go with visual effects.
So, like the edits are just like.
Kind of what, like, how like when there's like blood splatters, gunshots.
Oh yeah,
It's like superpower stuff like
Well,
that, like the visual effects.
Yeah, I can talk about that. Yeah, I really love how bloody Wolverine is. I really love the scene when of course Pantera's playing, and I put my claws, or what it looks like I put through my claws through I think Dakota.
That was I think that was Ben.
I think it was Dakota because that looked like Dakota.
I don't think he was there.
I don't even think Ben was there.
It was Ben, John, Owen, and Brady.
I don't know.
The Pantera one.
I don't think Ben was there.
Ben was there. He was wearing the purple.
that's Dakota Ramsey.
Oh,
Yeah.
bro, I'm telling you. That was during the Freebird.
No.
Oh, Freebird. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was Freebird when Dakota was there. Ben was there during the Pantera one.
But
I don't know. Either way,
I'm telling you, man, I know.
But
Trust in me, brother.
but anyway, when I put my claws through his head, that was so good. We had to put like 3 little spikes through the hat, and like I had to just like put my fist up to his head.
One thing I love about the Wolverine movie is the practical effects.
Yes.
Like the blood is real.
Yes.
The blood is real. The claw stuff is really cool. Both with the side one and with X's
Oh
one.
my gosh.
The
Yes.
practical effects are great. You hardly even really need the blood. Like mainly it's just gunshots and Wolverine. And that I think that gives it a really good point. Is the practical effects are on point.
Yeah.
Obviously the gunshots are smooth. They look good. Besides from that one scene, but the rest of them are good enough to make up for it.
I would say I'm gonna take probably third in this one. The sole fact of Electro's electric isn't the best looking,
Yeah.
but to his credit, Brady edited all that, didn't he?
Yeah, I didn't do it.
Yeah, that Brady's first time editing that kind of stuff. You know, credit where credit's due. Did good for his first time, and he doesn't have the same stuff that you have or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, that makes it kind of just like nah with visual effects, and that's really the only visual effects you have in Shocker is the electric
Well,
and the vibration.
Spider-Man's webs as well.
Yeah, I mean you could fight a case with that, but
I'm trying to help you, bro.
it's not in there.
Yeah. I think I should win. Honestly, because
Acid. Acid.
dude, the time stop, all those time stops scenes are just so cool looking. And obviously, the effect that is with the time stop and the practical effects of the knife and the meat cleavers moving through the air and stopping, stuff like that.
I think my favorite scene is when the time stops. Is when the character you played, the abusive dad. What was his name?
Henry Swiss.
Yeah, when you played Henry, I loved how you were just like you were good at that. Like you were like
Yeah, it's basically superpowers, bloody murder, and time stop powers is the competition here.
Yeah.
And it's hard. I think it's between Quicksilver and Wolverine because like Dalton said, there's not a lot of effects, and some of the effects don't really look that great anyway.
Yeah.
Like the electricity isn't super great, but
Sorry, Brady, but
the practical effects of Wolverine, I love those.
yes, I do too.
The gunshots as well. They look
Yeah.
they look realistic.
They wore real gunshots because Brady's dad actually
That one was real.
that
Yeah.
was
Brady's dad had to shoot my shirt.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. He
Yeah.
shot the shirt to give it that.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how physical Wolverine is.
I do too.
Wolverine just is great physically. Quicksilver's is more on like, a technical level, and then Shocker's just somewhere in between.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard.
Visual effects wise, I have to give it to Quicksilver because
Yeah.
just the time stops and everything just really make it that much better.
Listen,
Nice.
Goodness,
I'm sneezing up a storm over here.
Damn.
Woo! I've always been a fan of the time stop effects. I just think they're cool. Also, are we counting sound effects as well? Because the sound design of the time stop is really cool.
Yeah, we'll include that in there.
For that one.
Don't really think it needs it, but we'll do it.
So 3 for Wolverine right now, 3 for Quicksilver, and 2 for Shocker. All right, next up is costumes.
my costume is
Anyway, continue.
Anyways,
all right.
We'll talk anyway, even though I know.
But my costume is just basic. I mean, it's not even really. I mean, it is Wolverine, but it's not like
His superhero suit.
what you think like X-Men. It's just
it's like X-Men Origins Wolverine.
yeah, basically
Yeah,
leather jacket, shirt, jeans, boots.
and the
Just-
claws.
Yep. It's not the greatest. I like it. I know I'm definitely not winning this one.
I think the only other character that really has a cool costume is X. X has a
Yeah.
decent. X has a cool
Mr.
suit.
Mr. X.
There's only two that really have costumes. The rest are just all really close except for Cher's costume.
Yeah. I like what
Then
Brady.
it's
I like what Brady was doing though.
Yep.
But
Yeah, because they were
Got
really
that
supposed to be like a
money.
bunch of super people. They were just a bunch of like townsfolk and cult members, basically.
Yeah.
All they wore was like different colored bandanas to match X's yellow. Yeah, but Wolverine's costume is good though. I mean, it's simple, and X is cool. It's basic though.
I mean, do I really have to say anything? Like,
Shocker, Electro, Spider-Man, Hammerhead,
Yeah.
Chameleon. They're all just really
it's
freaking
some of the
good.
most noticeable costumes in the Marvel universe. So
Yeah.
not really much else to go off of there.
I really like Shocker and Electro's designs. I mean,
Yes.
they're nice. Spider-Man, obviously, he looks like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Hammerhead looks good.
Brady and Ben did a good job putting together the Shocker.
Yeah, I agree.
The purple pants are much better than the black ones.
Brown. But I think they're red actually.
They're like a maroon sort of.
Yeah, they're like maroon. Quicksilver. I mean, there's really only two people that have costumes, and that's Jane and Pietro. Granted, they look good, but Shocker just has so many more. So Shocker's winning costumes.
Yes.
Next one, I think, will be a little interesting. That is acting.
The acting in Wolverine, I mean, I like.
Hit or miss.
Yeah, I thought that I was kind of awkward when I looked back on it, but this was my first film, so I mean, yeah. But given that it was my first time, I thought I did decent.
Yeah.
I really liked. I thought Shayla's acting was very underrated with her Lucy character, and of course, I think the best acting had to go to Alex. Alex was fucking insane. But
Jonathan Lumen. We have a really funny video. It's a sort of blooper of when Jonathan looks in the box or in the box and is crying or whatever, and then Alex has cut and he's still crying. He goes,
Just looks up,
just
stone faced.
stone faced, like he hadn't done.
but Jonathan was actually really good too when he was crying, and he got the head of his what was it, his daughter
Son.
son. Yeah,
Cool that shit.
but yeah, Jonathan was really good in that.
Honestly, like, it's funny because I just told Ben this in a group chat. He's really shocked me with like all of his
Shocked.
He's really shocked me with how outstanding of an actor he is. And Isaiah is the same, or Isaac. I don't know why.
Skrillex. Just call him Skrillex.
Skrillex is, I mean, he's a really good electro. And just Brady does a great job with Hammerhead. He's really good at that sort of asshole boss sort of character. He does that. He does
Just
it
like
super
on the
well.
set.
Yeah,
I'm
I
kidding.
mean, he's basically, but you just have to look at his other roles for that. Rutherford, Hammerhead, those kind of guys. He's really good at that kind of character.
Mm-hmm.
Kendall, Anna Schultz, awesome, very dramatic, exactly what you need to be, and yeah, just all around, pretty good acting for some people who didn't really act before, or other things weren't as good as they were in that.
Sure.
So
Yeah, like I think Electro, Isaac's best role.
Mhm.
Jones as Spider-Man, good. Ben a Shocker, not his best role anymore. But Tudor blew that shit out of the water. But
which Hayden Spider-Man, I mean, he shocked me with that because it's
you wouldn't even think it was him.
no,
You would have thought it
he
was
did
Ben.
good.
Yeah.
So
For me, I mean,
Kendall knocked out.
Kendall's a great villain as Cyanide Jane. I actually felt for that character, and she's good at conveying that like childlike mind of a kid who her trauma set her back. Um, I like Wyatt as the cop. He's stone cold. He's chill.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Hey, Mario.
Hey, Mario.
Bowser.
Okay.
All right, we're done.
But I really like Wyatt as the cop. Brady's the cop was good too.
Yeah.
I like all the abusive fathers were good. Me, you, and Brady. We were all good. We were all different. It was good. And obviously me as Quicksilver, I think I did pretty good. It wasn't like a Moon Knight or anything, but it was something new to do, to be a more laid back, impatient character. It was less edgy and more outgoing. That was fun. Anything you want to say about that? I got nothing.
I mean,
Not the same thing I was thinking of.
They all have a lot of emotional moments.
yeah.
Like Wolverine has some emotional moments. You do a really good job of conveying him as like this gruff, silent guy who doesn't like to say much.
Mhm.
Ben does such a good Shocker, starting off as this freaking stupid thief who thinks he's good at what he does, but then he just slowly just gets hit with the realization that maybe he's not, and
Yeah.
maybe he shouldn't even be doing it at all. Pietro, I mean, he just wants to get this shit over with, and
Cocky.
he's cocky, and his pride is on the line. But then the more he goes along and thinks about it, he's like, "There's definitely more of a reason why I'm doing this than just to save my own ass." He actually cares about people. They all have that realization that they're better than they think they are. Anyway, all around debate time.
This one's hard. A lot of them are hard, but
Yeah,
I really think that acting, I don't know, again, would go to Quicksilver because I think Quicksilver is the most emotional one.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
Mostly, I mean, you were good, but Kendall blew out of the water.
Yeah.
Like, she portrayed that character,
top 5 villain.
and she's not really a villain. I don't like using the term villain for villains like that. I use antagonists because
Okay,
they're
yeah,
not a real villain.
yeah.
And you think of villain, you think of like Ursula from Little Mermaid or something.
Yeah.
Evil.
Yeah, 'cause she's not really evil.
No.
She's just traumatized.
Yeah.
She's a kid.
Are the best kind of villain / antagonists. Just saying.
We'll have to talk about that in a second. But Dalton, what do you think?
I'll say Quicksilver.
I will too.
Yeah, not to toot my own horn, but I mean, between the 3 protagonists, I'd say Quicksilver probably has the most range, because Wolverine kind of acts the same the whole time. He's just mad or sad.
Yeah.
Shocker is either sad or frustrated at Electro.
Or an idiot.
Pietro is, we see him when he's thinking. We see him when he's angry. We see him when he's down. That last scene where he's holding the thing to his head, we see him when he's sad. We see him, obviously, when he's contemplating hella thoughts about the case.
Yeah.
He just
I
has
really liked the detective work. The one thing appeal.
I figured Pietro would be perfect for it because his brain moves so much faster than the average person.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at the end of the day, Quicksilver's a character that I've always wanted to play, so I wasn't gonna fuck that up.
Right.
And obviously Ben didn't really know much about Shocker. He just kind of played him.
Happy to be there.
Everyone knows Wolverine, so you had some luck there.
And you weren't too Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, you were your own character. You were Hugh Jackman. You were yourself,
Yeah.
which I like. Same thing with Green Goblin.
Yeah.
You weren't too much. You did the voice, but you weren't just him. You were your own. I like that a lot. But even though both of you have way more than mine, I think that I probably have the better ones. Like the quality is over the quantity. Because like in yours, there's really only 3 people that are really super well acted.
I'd agree.
Yours is also 3. Mine is, I would say, probably 2, but just the level at which they are is above. Look at you. Oh my goodness. She's so cute. She's over in that corner.
Yes, I can't see her. Oh, I see her now.
She's cute. Anyway, we got 2 more, and this is where I think it'll get fun. All right, I'll let you guys pick. Would you like to talk about protagonist or antagonist first?
We'll talk about protagonists.
Protagonist and
All right.
antagonist.
Wyatt, talk about Wolverine himself.
I mean, Wolverine is honestly what you expect Wolverine to be. Like you said with Quicksilver, you tried not to fuck him up. I tried not to fuck Wolverine up. Growing up, I really liked Wolverine as a kid. And when Brady asked me, he was like, "You want to be Wolverine?" I mean, I was excited to be him, and I really did try my best. And you know, I really like how how fucking mad he always is. I tried to capture that, and because that's how Wolverine just is. But it made me think of some like really sad Johnny Cash song, like "Hurt," like they used in the Logan trailer. But you know, but yeah, I really like what I did. I tried to be myself, and yeah.
You did it well.
Comic accurate to Wolverine than Hugh Jackman was, to be honest.
I got the height, kinda. I'm like
Yeah.
3 or 4 inches taller, but still I'm short.
See, I like how you were both chill and intense simultaneously.
Yeah.
Like Wolverine, most of the time he's quiet. He doesn't talk much. And the people that he does talk to, he's kind of like, you know, a little gruff towards them. But the people that he does care about, he talks to them in a more lighter way.
Yeah.
But then when he talks to like the people that he doesn't like, he fucking goes crazy on them.
Yeah, I see it. I've heard somebody, I think on one of our talks, I've heard somebody say this. If you live for like 200 years, you're going to be a grumpy asshole.
Right. I mean, same thing with Winter Soldier, Moon Knight, people like that who lived for a long time.
You're going to be a grumpy asshole. No matter what.
But I love the way that Wolverine is portrayed. He's Wolverine.
Yeah.
There's no. I mean, you did such a fucking good job. And I like that you conveyed his character arc. Like, he starts off as kind of a grumpy asshole, and then by the end, he questions, you know, am I really even an animal, or am I just a man? Know where he is, you know, what he's doing. I really like that.
I don't know why they just put, am I a man or a muppet in my head?
Am I a man or a mutant? But that's everything I gotta say about Wolverine.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Shocker. Shocker. Ben did an amazing job with it. Like we said, not his best role, but for the movie it was. I'd say Shocker was a good.
I'd say at the
protagonist.
point we're in, it's number 2.
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen enough Spider-Man, and a Deadpool hasn't been a thing
But
yet.
I'd say we can't talk about the other one yet.
And
But,
Bullseye, he didn't really do much as Bullseye, so I won't count that one.
Well, maybe. I'm stupid.
You said roles.
But for the movie and the plot, protagonist wise, Shocker is he's strong. What did I write?
Oh, I can actually pull up my papers for this one. Hold on.
Yeah. It's a different side of the character rather than just being a dumb Spider-Man villain. And that's really
All he's ever been portrayed.
Yeah.
And in other things.
exactly. And it works well because Electro wouldn't have been a good. If it was flip-flopped, reversed, it wouldn't have worked because Electro is more cocky than Shocker. Electro doesn't really have the family aspect that Shocker does.
Yeah, you can't like Electro really. I mean, you can really only like him from like a cool factor of his abilities, but like as a person, he's just not that great of a guy.
I mean, Jamie Foxx Electro, I only like because of Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, well, that's different.
Yeah. But as a character, you can't like Electro. Shocker, though, and I didn't even think I would like Shocker. Like, oh yeah, Shocker's gonna become a good guy. And that's like, Shocker's a good guy. And everything you see, he's just this dumb Spider-Man villain. You know, Lego Marvel, all of the Spider-Man animated series. You know, it's dumb, but he's a good protagonist, good plots to go along with him, and Ben does a great job
Yeah.
portraying it all.
I got notes for both of them I forgot to read. So for Wolverine, I'll start with him. Since we already said. I said right off the bat, we see that Logan is a tough and gruff person with a big temper because in the bar fight, he just completely goes apeshit after getting punched like one time. Wolverine is shown to start off as a gruff, mean person, but slowly peeled back to reveal a broken/tragic man. We see that Logan is a much better person than he thinks he is. The movie constantly feeds Logan ideas and evidence that he's actually a good person through people like Lucy, Gambit, the Rabbi. Wolverine learns a lesson from the story, which is simply that he isn't a monster, but a man who just needs to find his way. For Shocker, Shocker is immediately established as a guy who has a goal of doing something more than what he is. And at first, it's just, I want to pull off a heist. But then by the end, it's something completely different. He starts off as a loser who gets beaten up by Spider-Man over and over and over again. The same guy we saw in Sins Rising who got beat up by Spider-Man. Shocker is shown to be a smart guy who's done on his luck. It really makes you feel for him, even though what he's doing is wrong. You almost want him to win just so that he can get some pride. Herman, despite completing his goals, is still hit with the shocking truth that he's not a good person, and he takes it really hard when his wife tells him. That's what you are, and you'll always be that for me. Truth that he's not only doing criminally evil things, but he doesn't want it to be his life, because he knows that he will never truly be happy if he keeps doing what he's doing. His final confrontation with Electro shows a lot of his growth because he's willing to fight someone who he considered his friend and partner, if it means, being a better person. And I love the final talk with Spider-Man where he gives up. He's like, yeah, I'm good, man. I'm serious. Love that. That's all I got to say about Shocker. Anything for you, what?
I love how I really like how Shocker really better person. We've talked about this, but it's just I really like the ending. I really like when he's getting into his car and he's got all of his shit with him. I really like that. You know what I mean? And like it just makes you feel like he's moved on, and that's what made me really like Shocker. You know what I mean? But
yeah, because what Dalton was saying in Spider-Man Sins Rising, he was a dumb Spider-Man villain, but then this movie just completely flips that on his head. We found out he's actually a super smart guy who has something that he just gave up, but he's like, I gotta go back.
We're really good at doing that. Turning characters, everything isn't just a dumb superhero or a dumb supervillain, and giving them layers.
All right, let's talk about Quicksilver. He's immediately established as being impatient, fast-thinking, witty, but he mainly goes on the case for his own personal gain to start off. He even says it. He's like, I can't have my name being dragged through the mud. He's like, I'm fucking Quicksilver. I'm an Avenger. Like, this is bullshit. Quicksilver is established as a lonely, hot-headed genius who often finds himself frustrated by his speed, and he finds out about the power and the curse because, he checks his clock waiting for notifications from his sisters or from any of his friends, but no one ever texts him. And like he says, as the fastest man alive, the clock doesn't really matter. Pietro's impatient to the point where he actively argues with the police about their policies. And at first, you think Pietro doesn't care, but the longer the movie goes on, he kind of starts to feel out the truth of what he really needs to be doing, and that it's for the good of the betterment of the world. Because you can't just let people go around killing other people, regardless of what they've done. Mm-hmm. I mean, he says it himself. he doesn't think they deserve to be free, but he also doesn't think they deserve to die. And that really puts that is much stronger than someone like Wolverine or Shocker, because Shocker obviously was a villain, and Wolverine, I mean, he'll scalp your ass. But Pietro, obviously, he's a lot like Spider-Man in the way that he believes that human life is sacred, and you only have so much time. You only got so much time, and I like that Pietro is such a realistic person because he's impatient. He hates waiting for things. He thinks he's smarter than everyone else. He has ADHD brain. He's got to do everything fast and has to do it now. But when he really slows down and thinks about things, we find out he's a much better guy. He cares about people. He misses his family, and he doesn't want innocent people to get hurt. That's what a hero is. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. Well, why anything about Quicksilver?
I mean, yeah, that's what you basically said. I mean, I really do like how he bounces his. I mean, he's very charismatic, and then he's just very sad and angry, or just curious, and that's. I mean, he's like a human being. He's very relatable. I mean, he's got some traits that you could definitely pick up, but yeah.
I just wrote cocky, and I mean that's kind of Quicksilver, cocky, but like you said, eventually he's down to the wire, and he's actually a pretty decent person. But he
Yeah.
rejects the cockiness because it's just easier.
Right. He does what he knows. I like that a lot about him.
Yeah. Time always catches up to you.
I think that's one of the. So, as you know, I always related to the characters I play. That's one thing anyone who knows me knows. I'm very impatient and I'm stubborn. Pietro is that down to the letter.
You hit that one right on the head.
But anyway, let's talk about who's the best pro tag here.
Or, I mean,
We haven't decided, yeah.
Who's the best pro tag? Shocker, Wolverine, or Quicksilver?
Wolverine. No, I'm just kidding.
I want to say Shocker. Because he has. I mean, Logan has layers to him. But he's more of like a. It's more of an anti hero, in my opinion.
Yeah,
than anything.
Wolverine definitely is.
But he's a pro tag. Talk about pro tags, not heroes. Per
Well,
se.
yeah.
Because, Shocker's a villain in the first half, so can't go by that logic. Like you said, not counting the villain, we're counting anti. So.
I don't know.
Because it's purely based on heroism.
Right.
It's
Right.
But
that's not necessarily what I
protagonism
mean.
factor is what it.
Yeah, I guess you could say I don't know. Scratch that. I was thinking something different, but
I mean, I get what you're saying.
I had an idea in my head. It just didn't pop out.
Yeah. I get you.
Turn gears back. It's back there. I don't really know because their plots fit them so well. They all move their plots so well. Stories. It all comes down to which one has a better story.
So I feel like objectively, if you're going to say which one has a better character arc about the story, it's Shocker.
Yeah.
Shocker is a more complete character. Wolverine, I mean, he does have a bit of a character arc, but you don't really see what comes of it per se. You just know what it is going to lead into. Pietro, I mean, he's kind of the same, but we just see him unlocking his emotions essentially.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing about him is just that he overcomes his ideology of selfishness to save someone else.
Mhm.
And of course, Shocker goes full villain to hero flip. That's the whole thing. So I'm probably going to have to agree. Shocker is the best protagonist. Maybe not the best character, but the best protagonist.
Yeah.
Best character is fucking hard, but best protagonist I have to give to.
You can't choose best character.
It's impossible.
well written, so well acted. Just
Very underrated protagonist. I like it.
All right, last one. The villain, the big antagonist. Who's gonna win? Wyatt, talk about Mr. Rapey McStab.
Jesus Christ. Diddy.
I already have my
What a-
winner in this category.
He's been waiting for this.
But I mean, what do you expect? He's just someone that you want to just jump through the jump through the fucking TV and rip his throat out. I mean, he speaks for himself. I mean, he's just he's a monster. And
I love him. I hate him, but I love him.
yes,
I love to hate him.
yeah, you love to hate him. You really
Those are
do.
the best antagonists. The one you love to hate.
Him and Bushman are sitting right next to each other in the fucking cunt Olympics.
But he's just so good at like pissing you off and like just like also scaring the shit out of you at the same time. I mean,
Yeah, because I was like the whole time you're like, man, I wish I could beat the fuck out of this guy, and then you get to the end and you're like, damn, I probably can't beat the fuck out of this guy, and that's the scary part.
real.
He'd probably fucking kill me.
But
I'd be
the
Shane.
the fucking
Yeah,
creep,
and his fear factor is intensified by the fact that he can actually do the kind of shit that he said he'd do.
yeah, the creepy ass smiles, the creepy ass traits, the fucking. I mean, he kills people's family for Christ's sake.
Cuts off a little boy's head and mails and puts it in a box for his father to look at.
Yep,
That is terrifying.
and sexually exploitates young girls.
That's disgusting.
Yep, but I mean,
Kills prostitutes that he hires specifically to have sex with them. He doesn't care about the people that works for him. He just was like, fuck it. When they're all dead and it's just him and Wolverine, he's like, oh well, it's me and you now.
Hey, you two, you useless fucks.
Yeah, he literally cares for no one but himself. Not a single person. He is, if you want to talk about the best villain, he is a fucking villain. That man is evil. I heard some good stuff with this guy. Creepy and demented. His first appearance that you see of him is not even him. It's his voice off screen. X's design showcases his ruthlessness. He's got a set of fucking tally mark tattoos to signify every person he's murdered. Sunglasses. You never see his full expression because his eyes are hidden behind a wall of black.
oh yeah,
He's got a strong hold over the whole city. He has secret buyers, hitmen all over, watching Wolverine as he goes along. X is a narcissistic, violent, utterly deranged individual who will stop at nothing to keep his power, killing children, decapitating people, and molesting women. When it comes time to throw down, X showcases why he's so powerful and egotistical, because in reality, he is actually a ruthless swordsman and fighter who can do the things that he says he can do.
He can back up his shit.
For the most horrible person he is, he can back it up, and that's a scary thing. That's my thoughts on X. I guess yours would be Electro.
Not much to say about him. Just kind of a lazy piece of shit who, the money talks to him and he doesn't want to give it up. So
I have
he's a good. What's one of them?
odd character.
A good not roadblock for Shocker, but a foil. Good foil for Shocker.
my notes are Electro is at first established to be a partner who has ambitions to be a stronger villain. Electro is an arrogant person who believes that he is superior to Herman, and he is delusional enough to believe that he is the better of the two. He actively tries to put Shocker down and make himself look better. Everything he does is for himself. He just uses Shocker as a means to an end to get there. He's greedy. That's simple. He's greedy and he's lazy.
He's greedy.
Jane, obviously, she is a whole different person from either of those two. She's established to be a tragic figure, totally opposite from Electro or X. Her backstory is showcased as an antagonist with a reason for doing what she's doing. Obviously, she lost her parents due to her own powers, can't control them, and is afraid of herself. But also, we know that she was a girl who grew up having a lot of friends who were abused by terrible parents, and so she thinks that with this power that she has, the best thing to do is to kill them, to spare their children the suffering. Jane is immediately shown to be super powerful, with her killing her parents as an act of accidental power. Over the film, we're shown that Jane kills people. Most of them you actually believe that deserve it, and you think she's right. You all almost want her to win. And you see Jane feeling regret for not only her parents' deaths, but the deaths of other people. And her dichotomy with Quicksilver obviously is great. I've talked about this the whole time. Vengeance versus justice. And then, of course, surprisingly enough, for the superhero movie, it doesn't end with a big climactic fight between the two. It ends with her and Pietro sitting down as she just dies and just takes it all back, which is not something villains usually do. General debate. Wyatt, you want to go first
I mean,
between all three of us?
I really do think that Mr. X is the best because, I mean, I know we're not looking at villain hero standpoint, but I mean, you would want a protagonist to win really no matter what, wouldn't you? But like, and you'd really want an antagonist to lose, and you really want this antagonist to lose. I mean that kind of boiled it down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's true.
Well-
I'll agree with you that Mr. X is a good villain.
Yeah.
He's an excellent villain. I'm gonna say that Cranberry Jam,
Cranberry Jam!
Cracker Jack Box, Calamity Jane.
Calamity Jeff.
No, Silent Jane is, in my opinion, a better antagonist because she has more of a reason behind what she does.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mr. X is just evil. Electro, he's just a greedy piece of shit. Whatever. But Jane, she, I like the more well written, more fleshed out villains, quotation, and stories. And she's very well, fleshed out. You know what she wants. You know her background. You know why she's doing what she's doing. Why she is the way that she is. And none of it really is her fault per se. And so I mean that's just a kind of an antagonist. Appreciate.
Because I'm one of those people who really thinks that sympathetic villains are overrated anymore, and I'm dying to see a fucking dude who's just evil for the sake of being evil. But I also understand the merits of an antagonist who is driven by something other than just being bad. It's hard because the idea of being just evil for the sake of evil got washed, and now sympathetic villains are being washed. So it's like I'm fighting between two different things that are kind of both
Damn if you do, damn if you don't.
have already happened a lot. I think Electro is the worst.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to say Hammer's Head as an antag, I mean, you don't even know the fucking dude.
No, he's just sort of like
He's a side villain.
he's just an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah. They both have really good things about them because X, I mean, fucking evil.
Yeah.
He gives the protagonist a challenge physically. He does horrible things. But Jane, she gives Pietro a challenge mentally.
Mhm.
And for the most part, what she does isn't really even evil. So it's really hard to pick. This one is hard. What do you think, Wyatt?
I mean,
It's between you and me, basically, because Electro just is not. He's a good character, just not a good antagonist.
I really do like how sympathetic Raspberry Jam is.
Cranberry Jam.
But
Crazy Jimmy.
Cactus Jack.
like you said, I'd like to bring back the fucking evil ass villains. You know what I mean?
I got a few of those coming up. I'll tell you.
But like, yeah,
I got a few, and
I'm just saying, like in movies in general, because people want to sympathize with villains nowadays.
yeah,
but-
I mean, I like it, but I also we need both.
Yeah.
We can't have one or the
It
other.
does
We
it
need
too
both.
much, and
And
then
then
they try and do it and it doesn't work, and then it's just
Like, for example, Puss in Boots 2. You had Goldilocks, sympathetic villain, and then you had Jack Horner, who was just a fucking dick, but you loved him anyway because he was a fucking dick. So I think this is hard. Drawing on this one, or what do you think?
I think Mr. X.
You think X? Oh, this is hard.
I think Jane, but it's up to you, whichever one.
but this could be a draw.
Could be, because I honestly love everything about both of them.
We're not gonna get points to it.
No, Electra doesn't get anything. So I'll just write both of them and give them both a point. All right, with our final scores. Let me tally those up real quick.
Your fingernail clippers.
Somewhere around here, I'll find them.
You know, bothering the fuck out of me.
This finger, and pus and stuff coming out of it. That's gross.
All right, this is actually insane. Make sure I got everything right real quick. Final scores are Shocker with 4 points, Wolverine with 4 points, and Quicksilver with 5 points.
Wow.
It won by 1 point.
Damn.
That shows you how close these are.
Yeah,
Yep.
3 great movies.
So let me recap. Shocker won protagonist. We draw for antagonist. Quicksilver won plot. Shocker won licensed music. It was a draw for pacing, so nobody got points. Acting, Quicksilver. Cinematography, Wolverine. Fight scenes, Wolverine. Side characters, Wolverine. Score, Quicksilver. Costume, Shocker. Effects, Quicksilver. And theme, Shocker. So it was that tight. If we would have drew on antagonist, it would have been 3, 4, and 4 with Wolverine in last place. But so our winner is Quicksilver Time Crimes. But they're so close.
Yeah.
I honestly think that last round is a swing between either one of us. Which, in the case of that, if we made Wolverine the winner, it would have been 4, 4, and 4. We would have had an even split between all 3 of them. Thank you all so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Matchup Monday. If you enjoy the movie-based fights more, we'll do more of those. I know the 3 of us had a lot of fun rewatching these films and debating everything about them. Hope you all had a great time, and go back and watch these movies. They're great. Would you two like to say goodbye?
Bye.
Yeah.